So one has to remember that enlightenment and non-duality is the resurgence of the mind of a child. Because the mind of a child is non-dual. It doesn't know any differences between objects. It doesn't know any differences between names, associations, attachments. It doesn't know any differences between when it's smiling or when it's crying. It doesn't know any differences between pain and pleasure. The enlightened state means everything is taken from you. And like everything else, the brain is a container. It contains information for the body enough room for it to be able to operate this body in a constant surviving process. And the mind also in your own body is that container. So when your body is empty, of emotions, of feelings, of sensations, of senses, it returns to that child. So the size of the container also reduces to the size of that child. So it's very unable, the mind itself, or the container that the mind is within the body, is very unable to take on the information very quickly again. I mean, how long does it take the child to learn about its parent, its name, the ideas and that it has about itself, its color of its eyes, its size of its shoes? It took many, many years, 3-4 years before the child, sometimes 5-6 years before the child forms some sort of ability to converse, equally to that adult. So enlightenment means you're going to behave like the child. You're going to experience like the child until you learn again. But it's up to you, you see. You don't have to learn anymore again. That's the problem. What you see from this enlightened state is you get a very clear overview of the world and people. You have this ability. I don't think it's a positive ability. I'm not saying anything about enlightenment is either positive or negative. It's another experience. It's personal to you. You have this ability to have an overview of the world and see each one of us. And you were that one when the mind came in and said, come on, what are you going to do with your life? This over need to try and think our way out of situations that really don't exist until we think about them as they may exist, or they are looking like they're going to exist. So how can we prevent them from existing? An overview of thinking and thinking and thinking until the thoughts have to make some sort of impact. They have to take some sort of shape, some sort of form. So therefore we have to build something. And it's not out of a necessity. It's just out of fear. It is quite easy to see the human beings. We live in fear. Even the positive ones live in fear. We have to save the world from what? Well, another 50 years, the environment's gonna, and the earth is gonna, and we're not gonna have anywhere to live, and we may be destroyed. These are assumptions. This is living in fear. This is not living for now. Not living in trust. Not living in faith. Not living in acceptance. This is the problem. This is what the revelation of meaning this wisdom of God is. God says, what the hell are you all trying to do? Why are you trying to create something better? Or why are you trying to take on my role? I give you a free ride, a free ticket, a free body to have fun and enjoy and dance. And you start seeing from the eyes of God. You start seeing, but you don't judge. You don't judge. Only one judge. You just see. And you say, well, I understand why this enlightenment took place in a sense of God made me into a speaker. Not a speaker of positivity or negativity, not a speaker of preferences and comparisons and wisdom and this is better than that and this is the way you should go and this is the way it should be done. No, a speaker to say, what is it that we need to have more of through a mistrust, a fear that we will be annihilated? It's never going to happen. If there's any annihilation coming for this human species, it will be our undoing. We can blame reptilian, alien, Illuminati, conspiring, lizard things, but we create them through our mind. We've never seen an example of these things. We have example of narcissistical minds, like I don't have to give names. You know them that just want to create genocide and organize a race into a particular way, whether it's robotic or whether it's all with blonde hair and blue eyes, or whether it's all men or all whites or all blacks or whatever. They have this need to unify and separate and build something, an empire. That's not reptiles and aliens, and that's a narcissistical mind. And that operates in us all. That is what we are. We are narcissistical species who are always planning and organizing things that may never happen. We're always trying to prevent. We're always trying to make improvements. We're always trying to build higher. And David Bohm is the only man that really speaks any sense. And you can speak about Einstein and Socrates and all these wonderful people who all have had value and even the spiritual people. But really, David Bohm, taking away his scientific role with holograms and all that stuff, taking away about the mind of human beings, is pretty accurate. We overthink, we overimprove, we overtry, we try and take on a role of controlling elements. And that's what's seen. So you try, that's the great thing that you have to work on. You try and not take control of anyone's life, even your own. You just let life be. And that can be dangerous to some people. Some people can see that as a negative thing. No, you have to try. We have to make improvements. We have to adjust. That's not what God said. Adjust. Replace it with trust. It rhymes. You know, I watched TV the other day. I don't watch a lot of TV in the morning. And it was a public holiday in this country. And all morning on all the channels that I could find that were local channels were people sitting in chairs speaking. And they were speaking to people on other chairs through Zoom lenses or cameras because of this pandemic. But it's not about the pandemic. It's about the whole morning. People just spoke their opinions, spoke about life, spoke about things. And I used to remember when I was young, and I used to watch a program called It's a Knockout, where they would invite people from hundreds of people to do events outside, jumping over things, climbing into things, bouncing off things, running. And I thought, wow, people don't move anymore. We don't move anymore. Even this one is sitting, speaking, thinking, for no apparent reason. Because we have become that lazy race. We have become that race that thinks we are going on a down spiral. So therefore we'll just sit and wait it out. And it's not the idea to prevent it. The idea is to ignore it. Ignore your mind. Ignore the mind that wants to think in futuristic ways and try and make comparisons with past ways. The child of the mind is free. The child of the mind is freedom. It's dancing. Not once did anyone get off their chair and dance. Because it's not kosher. It's not normal, as they do with their little fingers. It's not normal to dance anymore. It's not normal to sing and worship. It's not normal to go around the maypole and hang on to ribbons. That's not normal. We've passed that. We sit. We're all Buddhas. We're all under the bonsai tree in our studios or in our house or in our laptop. We all become statues, robots that think and operate and operate. No more is there market stalls and fishing, men fishing in the seas. We're all sitting somewhere in a building in front of an interface, in front of the screen, the mini screen. How many screens are we appearing on every day? Are you part of the screen? Muji had a great video. Are you in the screen or are you out of the screen? Are you the perceived or are you the perceiver? You have to take the mind of this is the mind of a child. This is the mind of love and freedom and happiness and even though it doesn't come across, because it's not kosher to speak like this, you know. Oh, everything is, oh yeah, no, because that's not balanced. That's not Buddha. The Sufi swirls around, balanced. Yeah, it's balanced. It doesn't swirl around because it's overjoyed, overwhelmed with life. It just remains true to itself. The body is true to itself. It's the maypole and the consciousness and the ribbons swirling around its stable axis spine. Balance doesn't mean you have to just sit and think and meditate and speak. Balance means be present in whatever it is that we do, but we don't do anything anymore. And I watched the TV at night. I thought I must watch more, and it was in a kitchen cooking, and everyone was cooking and baking, and I thought, well, that's some sort of movement, but there was only specialized people allowed into the kitchen. It's a contest. You see, whole life has become a contest, a competitive thing. Hence why that mind came in, that competitive mind, and said, what are you going to do with your life? You have to be better than them. You have to be bigger than them. You have to be more superior. You have to be the best singer on X Factor. The doing is no problem. It's the desire that the doing will bring. What will the doing bring? Will it bring me fame? Will it bring me money? Will it bring me a fan club? Will it bring me a status? Will it bring me a column in Wikipedia? Will it bring me a bigger tombstone? Because we're all going to end up with a tombstone. Hopefully a little small one with a name. I am here. So you have to forgive enlightened speakers and forgive them the non-dual way, the consciousness way, because they're speaking through an intellectual tongue that is beyond human, but using a child interpretation on what this is. And don't dismiss the child's interpretation. You never see a child go through a whole day without at least smiling half of the day. Whether it's playing with its friends, whether it's looking out the window of the car. It just sees life for what it is. So the enlightened one is not one who knows more. The non-dual one is not one who knows more. To unify everything into one means you're taking it away from 100 incidents in your peripheral vision into one. So you're reducing things. Therefore, it is much easier to cope with this complex living situation, this improving thinking situation. You have very selective powers. The child has very selective powers. It can go to sleep whenever it wants. It can shut its eyes whenever it wants. No one will wake it up because it's far too happy for me. I have so many things to do in my daily life. I don't want the child to be awake all the day because it's so busy. I have to sit in front of the camera again. It's incredible that we cannot learn from the child. But we see a saint, we see a guru, we see a speaker, and we say, I want to learn from this one. And he is the child. She is the child. And Jesus says, you will not find the kingdom of heaven until you become like the child. Meaning, dance, be merry, be yourself, be genuine, be true. Get off your seats and dance. We can all be happy. We don't have to think about it. It's just in our nature. When we think about what's happening in the world, while we're dancing, it's not a true dance. We can think about these things. You're not exempt from seeing the suffering in the world and exempt from knowing that there are so many people miserable, depressed, and being trodden over, being ruled and guided over and annihilated and killed. That's the race we are. We are reptilian ourselves. You see, the reptiles that we believe exist is within us. You see, we were formed from a reptilian race. Some still have that reptilian mind, that narcissistical way to need to be in control. Like that mind that dawned on me on that particular day, that mind that I will always watch and observe and make sure it doesn't come close. What are you going to do with your life? Nothing. What is life going to do with me? Whatever life does with me is okay with me. In whatever aspect it takes. Whether there's a serious illness, that pain, that trauma, that disease, that is what is meant to be. I am a pandemic. My mind is a pandemic. It is billions and billions of options to try and improve it. But one option from God says, no, you don't get that option. I am is the option, the only option. You are born as I am. That's the only thing you can improve. How you say your I am. Not what is added on, the apps of mind. I am Graham. I am the speaker. I am the man who has a job. I am the one that wants to find out more about this life. I am the story, the narrative. I am the bullshit, the information that dies. There's not enough room on your tombstone to write your whole story, the mind's whole story. That's why I have improved my I am against God's wishes. And now I say I am here. And he accepts that one, that God, not he, it accepts that here-ness. It accepts that presence, that awareness, that beingness. And that's the mind of that true child. God, I'm so glad I'm here. I am so glad I am here. And I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad you saved me. And I'm so glad that I recognize you for what you are. And I'm so glad for this earth that appears beautiful and changing every day. I am so content with life, with a mind that fluctuates, with a mind that still gets teased or antagonized by other minds, by other qualities. You can't blame anyone outside of you. Your mind is open when it's open, and when it's closed, it's closed. And like the child, if it's open and there's too many antagonizing, then go to sleep. Shut your eyes and remain true. Remain true. If you're true to God, you're true to yourself. If you're true to yourself, you're true to God. That's the mirror of reflection. That's the mirror of life. That's the mirror of immaculate presence, immaculate beingness, immaculate here-ness, immaculate nowness, isness, consciousness, blissfulness, emptiness, stillness. Thank you, God.